Pakistan ups the ante on blasphemy. Life in prison now possible. Pakistan has intensified its efforts to combat perceived blasphemy against Islam with the passage of the Criminal Law Amendment Bill 2023, which significantly increases the penalties for those found guilty of insulting not only the Prophet Muhammad, but also his family, wives, companions, and the first four caliphs. Under the new law, the punishment for such offenses could result in imprisonment for life, which shall not be less than 10 years, and a fine of up to 1 million Pakistani rupees, which is equivalent to about 3,500 USD. While some, like Jahangir Mohammed of the Islamic think tank Ayaan Institute, argue that anti hate laws are essential to maintain peace and harmony, others have raised concerns about the bill's passage and potential targets. Human Rights Minister Riaz Hussain Pirzada expressed apprehension about the motives behind this legislation, stating in a letter to Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif that it was created to quote please a specific group and passed without quote fulfilling the norms of parliamentary proceedings. He added, quote, minority groups have raised their eyebrows on ignoring a good practice in parliamentary business followed for amending a law to eliminate technical defects rather than intending to persecute a specific group. Critics also believe the amendment may be an attempt to target the minority Shia Muslim community in Pakistan. So let me clarify something. Insulting the Prophet Muhammad, allegedly, is still punishable by death in on the books in Pakistan. This is just saying, "Oh, if you insult the Sahaba, then you get life in prison." They're raising the punishment of insult to the Sahaba, his companions, his family, etc. That specifically is the life in prison. And Tema is asking a good question. Where's the UN on this issue? Where's the UN on this issue? We have churches being burned down, whole communities terrorized, the homes of random Christians being looted, all their goods stolen. What isn't being burned in their homes is being stolen for an alleged desecration. And these are the priorities. These are the priorities. And what gets me frustrated is that there were different people in think tanks or whatever, or commenters, intellectuals, whatever, that commented on this. There was this one guy who said, quote, all societies need laws which promote social harmony and which outlaw incitement to people's sacred beliefs. Pakistan has a lot of issues relating to sectarian and religious hatred from extreme elements, both Sunni and Shia. So, some kind of religious incitement laws are necessary to maintain peace and harmony and to clamp down on the worst excesses. I'd rather have modern anti hate laws than the antiquated British era blasphemy laws. But obviously, given that this is Pakistan and laws are often used for political vendettas and score setting, laws have to be proportionate and properly applied and not used for political purposes. Okay, here's the thing. Blasphemy laws make society less harmonious. There is empirical evidence behind it. I read an article by this lawyer basically demonstrating his thesis that blasphemy laws are actually constitute a national security issue for the country that has these laws on the books itself. Because this is why it creates a less harmonious society. Because the state, as a project, is validating that these so-called offenses are worth death or life imprisonment. The state is validating and legitimizing that those are appropriate reactions and punishments for perceived offense. So when your state is validating and legitimizing that attitude, people feel well within their right to voice their offense, to have their offense constantly catered to and milked. And this is partially why we see more blasphemy lynchings in Pakistan than anywhere else, based on the latest data that I have seen. Because the government validates that insults to the Prophet Muhammad are worthy of being punished with death. But the state is not willing to actually enforce that penalty. So the populace has the impression that this is a totally legitimate and valid punishment for this perceived offense. At the same time, there's a contention because the state is not willing to enforce that punishment. So people take it upon themselves and feel well within their right to do so. Sorry, I just went on a rant.
All right. Okay, so we have. By the way, I just want to respond to this. A young atheist is saying, "I hate this pathetic country." To, I don't. You know, the whole point of us highlighting news like this is that we want the best for a country, right? We don't hate Pakistan. We hate what's happening to Pakistan. I think we need to reframe how we think about this. We don't hate every time we see this happening in a country. Just don't hate the country because the country includes a whole bunch of people in it that don't deserve this. Includes all of them. So don't hate an entire country. Say I hate what's happening to this country. I think that's how I like to frame it in my mind. Um, we see
I
the
get
country as
so fired up about this because I hate the prosperity that is being robbed of the people
right.
that I care about in Pakistan because I want them to have a decent life where they feel safe and secure and have a semblance of a feeling that they're free to be themselves. That's why I get so fired up about this.
Right. So let me just read one comment over here that no, not this one. I'm going to read this one. Somebody saying, amazingly, the increasing punishments for blasphemy don't seem to be connected to any improvement in Pakistan fortunes. It's almost as though Allah is not real or doesn't cure, unlike the people in prison. There was another comment that I wanted to read. That was this one. Okay. Oh no, not this one, but I will read this one as well. The deceased aren't affected by any amount of insults. They're dead. Yeah, I mean, Islamically, like, why do you keep Muhammad is in heaven if you believe in Allah and stuff? He's like having a great time. Why do these insults affect him? But oh, this one is the most important one. This is one I want to read. This guy is saying me. This means okay. It's not the grammar is not proper. He's saying the Shias in jail, like means get all the Shias in jail on blasphemy charges. So not so what this comment is highlighting. I mean, it's not being accurate in the way it's describing it, but I've thought it's important to bring this up. Being Shia is blasphemy. Being Shia means that you are believe in things that in Sunni Islam is considered blasphemy. And there's a lot of Shias in Pakistan. These blasphemy laws, like anybody, if you wanted to actually follow exactly what's on the book, basically every Shia in Pakistan and every Ahmadi in Pakistan is just a walking criminal that you could basically use the laws to prosecute them. Like this is insane levels of discrimination and oppression. But yeah, so that's one of the consequences that we have to see what will happen. What's going to happen to the Shias in Pakistan? Um, we also got a super chat from Asian American saying hashtag thought liber- thought liberation army. Yeah. So I think this is referring to thought policing
Mhm.
and liberating people from thought policing. Yeah.